Good afternoon. Yeah, good afternoon. And I guess you all are aware that CLAT 2021 has happened. It happened on 23rd July, and the results came, really fast this year, within 5 days. And I'm very glad to inform. In fact, I have the extremely proud feeling that Raipur students have done exceedingly well. And so this is the platform where we want to listen to the success stories of those students. And also, since you all are going to write exams somewhere in 22 or 23, so why not learn from them that what they have done differently, what you could inculcate those habits from right on. And maybe next year or the next to next year, we are having this achievers meet with you. So to felicitate all of you and to celebrate your achievement, we have Amitain sir from Career Launcher Head Office. So he's going to share a few words, and then we would interact with all these achievers. Over to you, Amitain sir.
Thank you, Priyanka. Thank you so much. And on behalf of entire CLLST family, I welcome everyone to the session today. So all the students who are attending the session who will be taking up CLAT next year or maybe in 2023, I'm sure parents have also joined in. And definitely a very warm welcome to all the achievers out there. It's your day, my dear friends. It's your achievement that we are celebrating today. Year after year, LSTians have made us proud, but yes, I would say that this year has been exceptionally good actually. It's a day of learning, it's a day of celebration, it's a day of exchange of ideas. That is what I would say. To all the achievers, it's a wonderful feat. What you have done is what I would say, it's a wonderful feat. You are an example of grit and determination. What success means is what you have shown by your example. So what you have achieved is all about self-belief. You had that belief that you will crack these exams, you'll come out flying, and that's what you have done. So that self-belief is very, very important. You are an example of what time management and planning is all about. I'm sure today, all the people who are attending this session, they will get really benefited from your experience when they listen to you about your prep journey, about your plans, about your career objectives. I'm sure they're really going to get motivated today. My message to all the attendees today, the aspirants, the young aspirants for the coming years, be attentive during the session while these young achievers speak about their experiences, their law school journey, what they did, how they did. That's very, very important, because that is something which is going to give you a lot of idea about how your preparation should be streamlined for next 10 months or maybe next 20 months, whatever it is. They are just like us. They are not aliens. All these guys who are going to talk today, Devanshi, Falak, Manavi, Namisha, Parth, all of them, they are very similar to us. Yeah, they are just like you and me. But they did something differently, and which Priyanka along with them will be discussing about today. I think that is what the learning will be all about. They are an example for all of us. What they have achieved this year, they are an example. And I think we should follow, we should understand, we should learn from them, we should learn from their experiences. To all the parents who are attending this session, my simple understanding is every child is brilliant, every child is genius. All that we need is to have faith in them, have belief in them. I'm sure you are doing your bit. When a child prepares for an examination, it's not just that child who is preparing for the exam, it's actually the entire family. I'm sure by the time they will be writing their exams, you would have also learned a lot about the legal reasoning and all those aspects. But what I meant to say here is the motivation which you are giving to them, that's really, really important actually, and that should continue for till the examinations are happening. So with that, without taking much time, I would now invite Priyanka back to take the proceedings. And I will enjoy the session in the background. I'll be there enjoying the session all throughout. I'm there, but it's your show. The achievers who are here, it's your show, my dear friends. You are going to talk, you are going to discuss your journey. We will celebrate along with you. Over to you, Priyanka.
So it's wonderful. Let me welcome all the people from Raipur, and I am absolutely certain that you are in good hands. I've seen how Priyanka works hard, how much she takes care, the kind of connect that she has with the students. And I'm sure that that is what you learn as well. But more importantly, what is important is to learn from our achievers, knowing what the things that they've done, picking up their journey. There is this assumption that people have this, that toppers are from a different planet. They're all alien people. They did something very different. But you'll soon learn that they're all individuals who had a particular dream, they stuck to that particular journey and did well. Priyanka, where are they?
Yeah. So we have Falak and Devanshi, and let me just change it to gallery. Yeah. Yeah, so I think the first, again, there are a few questions that you all have answered a lot, but still, I would want to know from any one of you, what was your first reaction when you saw the result or your name being selected for a national law university? So, what was the first reaction or anything that came to your mind at the first instant? Any one of you can take up the lead and please speak.
I too started crying because it's something I've wanted for a very long time. So I cried a lot because I finally got into the college I've been wanting, and it was a great feeling.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I too had the same reaction as Devanshi. I was finally, I liked the fact that all the effort I'd put in these past 2 years, I did get something out of it. And so, yes, I was pretty mixed, to be honest. I was crying a bit because I finally got the result what I wanted, and I was happy I got into an NLB.
Mhm. Right. Anyone else? What was your first reaction? Because I think making it to a national law university, and that too in the first list is a great feat, and your name being there, and because this is what you have been working hard. Whatever efforts you have put in, you've put in to see your name there on that list. So, Kunal, if you can
Yes,
share, yeah.
so, ma'am, actually, I was waiting from since the morning that the results will come. My parents are also waiting. Like when will my father used to call again and again that has the result come and so when in the night we were sitting together after eating the dinner. So I went and just checked the result and I got selected. I got the news that I am selected. So I told my parents. They were very happy. Like finally you have made it. You are working from a long time. So they were very happy after that.
Yes, I know that particularly the last year has been little, little been hard for your
Yeah.
family for certain reasons. So, since I'm sure you all are coming from various different streams, some of you would be from humanities, some of you would have taken science, or some of from commerce, and it's not that everybody has had lawyers in their family. So, what was and when it was that you decided that you are going to pursue a career in law, and this is what you want to do for further, as in 5 years or down the lane, 10, 15 years? This is, you decided that's yes, this is where this is what I want to do. So, what was your story about picking law as a career? Anyone? Yeah, Namisha.
Ma'am, it was my mother who told me that you should do a career in law. And when I started studying law and this, then I found interest in this subject, and I want to be an IAS officer. So I thought that by pursuing law, it will be easy for me to achieve my dream. And when I started preparing for it, I got very much interested in this. That's why I pursued this subject.
If we could understand your reason to go for this career.
Ma'am, actually, I had an interest in debates. So after a while in 11th, I opted for legal studies as my fifth subject.
Mhm.
And then I decided to change my interest to my profession.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And Parth, you coming from a family of doctors, if I'm not wrong, your parents are both doctors. So
Yes,
how
ma'am.
come this, law fitted in this entire game plan?
Ma'am, actually, before I answer this question, I must thank my parents for being so liberal with me and being so supportive. In spite of the fact that both of them belong to medical fields, they
Mhm.
encouraged me to go for the profession which I like. And ma'am, I did not go for law at the first glance. When the time came to select our stream in class 11, so I was juggling between science and humanities. I did not want to go for commerce. So when I considered it deeply, then I thought that I should go for humanities because I had much more interest in humanities than in science. And then when I chose humanities, I decided that I'd go for law because law as a profession involves the right mix of both theory and practical, which I like, and also it would also give me a lot of opportunities. So I decided that I should go for law, and that is when I started my preparation as well in class 11.
Right. Devanshi, though, if you can share your reason as well.
Yes, ma'am. So my grandfather was a doctor, and he always taught me about giving it back to the society. And that's why I wanted to become a doctor till I think grade ninth. But I eventually found out that I hated physics. I'm sorry if anyone likes physics, but I just don't get it. So, and then after that, according to my skill set, I thought law was the most perfect way to pursue my dreams and as well as help people out.
Okay. So, not you may not have any lawyer in your family. Okay. So, I wanted to understand next that what has been your journey so far from where you started. Was it always like when you gave the first mock you got around 70-80 marks, or it was a gradual increase? You started off at 40-50, and then you went on to cross 100 over the period of 1 year, 2 year. Also wanted to understand what kind of time that you have devoted to your the success. You started off in class 11th or 12th, and just a brief thing about how has your journey been, what were your fights, your challenges that you had to personally overtook in this span of time to reach where you are today.
Yeah, so I started preparing for CLAT when I was in grade 11th, and I prepared quite diligently till the pattern changed because, and I had gotten very accustomed to the old pattern. But when the pattern changed, it was very hard for me to come out of that cocoon that I can't do it. So eventually I faltered and stopped preparing for a very long time. And then I gave CLAT 2020 and I got rank 665. But I wanted to give it again if I could get into, my dream college. So then I took a drop year and I started preparing again, and eventually it worked out.
Okay. Falak, how much time you have taken for your preparation, or when did you
Ma'am,
start?
I started my preparation when I was in class 11, and I liked the earlier pattern of CLAT,
Okay.
but when the pattern changed, my reading skills were not quite good, so I kind of feared that it might affect in my CLAT scores, and yes, it was. But when I started, I got 30 marks in my mocks when I gave my first mock of the new pattern, and then I just focused on my reading skills. From the very beginning, my reading skills were not good, but I knew that if I want to score good in my mocks and the CLAT exam, and for the new pattern, I just practiced it out
Yes,
and
yes.
focus on English and reading more.
Some of you are here who have actually seen both the patterns. I think people who started out in class 11th, like Falak, Devanshi, Parth, and I think Kunal, you have also been a witness to the pattern change. And there are few who actually you started their prep with the new pattern. So I think the transition was something to altogether change. There was something, there was a pattern which you were following. Overnight you need to keep it aside and then start it off on something else. So how was the transition? Was it difficult? Was it did it work in your favor, or you really need to start from the scratch? Parth, if you can share, because I think you started off in class 11th.
Yes, ma'am. So when I started out, I felt I was doing quite good because at first I was getting scores between 60 to 70, but then the pattern changed. And so for a few days, I was not sure whether I could do this or not. But fortunately, I was reading newspapers every day, and I could say confidently that I was quite good at reading. So I felt that since this is a reading intensive paper, and I have a pretty good skill at reading, I could go for it. And so I had to change all my, just like everyone else, I changed my study patterns, the way I had to practice and everything. And so I feel in the end it worked out pretty well for me. But yes, that transition was a difficult phase. And I think everyone would agree with that fact.
There are few people who have done this with class 12th, and I would consider Devanshi also one of them, because last year she managed to get 665 with class 12th. And Parth has given class 12 this year, Namisha has given class 12 this year, even Falak, Rishita, they all have just completed the class 12th. So for students who are still in, we have students who are in class 11th or 12th, what would you suggest, or how did you balance your 12th prep and clat prep? Though boards didn't happen this year, but I think they were cancelled at the at the very last moment. So that pressure was always there till June, that boards are there. So till June, how did you kind of balance these two things, your clat prep and boards preparation? Because we know both are important. Anyone would like to share their experiences here
I
about the
think,
balancing act?
yeah.
Because that's where, yeah.
I think what's important for one to know is that CLAT is not a paper which demands 10 hours of preparation every day. What it needs is a consistency to be in touch with every subject. Even if you're doing it for half an hour or 2 hours, according to your needs and according to how much time you have, you can just keep in touch with all the subjects and prepare your GK consistently. So even if you don't solve reading comprehensions for 10 days, it won't affect your skill. But if you leave GK even for a day, then it would just pile up and you'll have to eventually give a lot of time in for GK. So I think doing GK consistently every day, and apart from that, just solving a few questions, and after a point of time, I think I just gave mocks, because mocks are the most complete way to go about your preparation. It covers all the 5 subjects and it's on a timer. And most importantly, it gives you a chance to know where you're going wrong and analyze your mistakes so that you don't repeat them in the actual paper. So I think that's the way to go about it.
Namisha, if you can share your journey to balancing this 12th and clat both.
Ma'am, it wasn't easy. Like, now, I devoted half time to school preparation and half time to my CLAT preparation. And when I gave my first mock, I remember it was in negative, like -10, -20, like that. And it like 4 to 5 mocks I got in minus marking score. Then after that, I started to improve myself. And when I started to prepare for CLAT exam, I didn't knew the new pattern. Like, I saw the previous year paper and I thought that this will be only the paper, like not passage based question. So after that, I knew that it has changed the pattern. So it was quite like difficult for me to manage. Then gradually, I practiced all the things and I scored, like, then my grades scores improved in my mocks. So practice, I will say that practice is the only key to success.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rishta, if you can share your views on that. How did you manage 12th and both 12th and clat prep both together?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I'm a PCM student, so it was very difficult for me to study both of the subject like very good. So I divided my first half for CLAT preparation, second half for PCM. But during the board preparation, I was leaning more towards PCM for the CLATs, because it was like my last paper physics was on 8th and the date for CLAT was earlier 13. So I was freaking out that how will I manage? But then the postponement and all the things worked out well for me.
Okay, but you also have done 12th this year, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
So how did this balance worked out for you? How did you maintain the balance between both the things?
At first, the timing devoted to CLAT was less compared to the last months, obviously, but I think consistency is the key because, as Devanshi said, GK is very important as one day can prove very uh, beneficial for you as well as harmful for you. So I think GK and legal preparation should be, for me, it worked out well because at first I prepared GK and legal as it comprises 50% of the paper, and when it comes to balancing out part, then at first definitely I used to study less for CLAT, GK and legal, but then I gradually started. I also remember that my first mock that I gave, I scored only 50 or 30 something, but then it gradually improved. So I would also say consistently giving mock is also the key.
Okay, now since we are talking about mocks and everyone has spoken about that, how important are those? And I have seen, students initially they do not tend to write mocks. Two reasons they give: that we have not completed a course, we would want to wait till the course is finished, and then we would start writing mocks. Second reason they usually give, if they score low in the few initial mocks, that by in low scores we get demotivated. So why do write mocks? So what is your take, or what would you suggest now that you are those people who have actually crossed the line? You have now you have proved yourself, and what would you suggest to future aspirants, that what should be their ideology towards taking mocks? Because that is something that a lot of people falter on starting mocks initially. They will feel like that January, February we would start writing mocks. What would be your suggestion in this regards?
In the early months in class 12, when the pattern changed, I used to give one mock in a week. And then gradually for the last 2 months since CLAT, I just gave one mock daily. So that helped me a lot because on the last 2 months I gave mock daily and I saw my marks gradually increasing, and that helped me the most. Besides preparing, giving mock daily is one thing I would suggest.
I think, as she said, it's very important that you give a lot of mocks. They are not a testament to your preparation, rather, they are a tool for preparation. Because, as I've said earlier as well, that you get 5 sections on a timer. So, what better could it be, right? It can't get better than that. So, I think it's very important that one gives a lot of mocks. And apart from giving mocks, it's important that one analyzes where you're going wrong. So, for example, I still remember the new pattern, the first mock I gave. I did not get a very good score, but eventually I started giving more mocks and analyzing where I'm going wrong. In fact, I made a chart whether it's a silly mistake or it's a skill error. So, if it's a silly mistake, that is something you have to solve on your own by keeping in mind that you can't repeat the same mistake in the next mock. And if it's a skill based problem, then you can definitely consult your faculty members and even Priyanka ma'am. So like everyone helps you out. And apart from that, I think it's very important that before going to teachers, you reason out with yourself. And this especially for legal reasoning and critical reasoning, that once you reason out with yourself, you become better at reasoning ability. Your reasoning ability increases. So I think it's very important that analysis of mock is also given a lot of importance apart from giving mocks. And like you have to give all the mocks that are available to you, because they're the best tool for preparation.
Parth, how integral are mocks to your preparation?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, actually, mocks are one of the most important parts of our preparation. So one should not skip giving mocks. They should, first of all, you should decide how you want to give a mock. So what I did was in 11th, I would give a mock every week. And then gradually when the CLAT came near, I switched my pattern. I would do mocks every 3 days. And then finally, when I think there were only 15 to 20 days left, then I switched to only solving mocks, and I would solve a mock every alternate day. And my suggestion would be I would not consider going for a mock every day, because to analyze it may take some time, and to properly analyze it, for me it took around 3 to 4 hours approximately. So what you could do is, once you give the mock, you come home and then you analyze it for 3 to 4 hours, and give a gap in between so that you can let it sink in and analyze. And what you can do is, instead of on that day when you take that gap, you could work on the areas where you have difficulty or whatever. And therefore, by doing things in bits and pieces, it does help. And because initially, since I was not good at logical reasoning and maths, so I worked on it, I practiced, and gradually my score improved. So what I would say is, yes, mocks are very important. You should always give your mocks as per your schedule, and you should decide when you want to give your mocks, when you want to analyze them, and also where you find where you might be lacking somewhere. So you must work on that area and improve it. You can practice, you can use your study materials, you could watch videos. And so working in bits and pieces really helps, and it gradually adds up to your score.
Now, another question that has come up, it's about mock, and I'm sure all of the students who are going to write CLAT in 22 or 23 should abide by writing mocks on schedule. Don't defer them. One more thing, since we're talking about mocks, that comes to me very frequently. I am not writing this paper. I will not give mock of this paper. That's the general. I'm not writing ALET. I'll not give ALET mocks. I'm not writing SLAT. I'll not give SLAT mocks. So, what is you guys take your take on this kind of this inclination towards mock, that we would only be writing only those mocks which we are writing, the exams that we are writing for?
I think I'll go. I
Yeah.
think one should write all the mocks because it's like, even if you're not giving that paper, you'll still get a lot of good questions to solve. And to be honest, one doesn't know what CLAT consortium is going to ask you. So what if next year they ask half critical reasoning, half analytical reasoning, right? So it's important that you're prepared for everything. And moreover, when you're writing a mock, it gives you a very, it enhances your mental capability to sit for 2 hours and solve a particular paper. So I think one should give all kinds of mocks. Yeah.
Right. And I always say that one mock is like another 150, 200 questions,
Right.
which you have not seen before. So if you're not giving a mock, which is probably of Maharashtra CT or SLAT or ALET or LSAT, you're losing onto those 150, 200 questions, and you're losing them permanently because you're not solving those questions. And so with another frequent query that is coming up in the chat boxes also, and that is something which was in agenda to talk about, is the GK part. I think because there's no fixed syllabus for preparing general knowledge for CLAT. So I would want to know how you guys have prepared GK, what kind of sources you referred, what practices like maintaining GK diary or notes. So what practices you have done, each one of you. So this is something I would want everyone to take a lead and answer this question on. Yeah, sure.
So I made notes from, like, I used to write different topics which are very important, and I used to search and Google them, like, and I think that is the very important part. So like in the end time, like before some months of CLAT, I started my revision, so my notes helped me a lot. So I think it will be a very great that you make notes from like searching, like read different editorials. If you get any new information, add to your note.
Falak, you want to share how you worked on GK?
According to me, the key to GK is making your own notes and revision. Like, you should revise GK, yeah, every week and every month, however, at your convenience. And making notes is the most important thing. Like, we must make our own notes, and that's very helpful when we do revisions. And I read Manthan, which CL provided, and many other newsletters, compendiums, and I used to make my own notes and revise it every week. So that was helpful for GK.
Okay. That's been the case with you, Chirag, as well. Did you make your notes? Chirag, Manvi, Rishita. Chirag, you made GK notes? Yeah, yes.
Yes, ma'am. I used to make GK notes and revision. For me, I used to revise weekly, but at the end, I used to focus more on important topics that I thought that are most likely to come. But uh, clat is unexpected. So this time for me, the most important topics that I prepared were not in the paper, but you should not panic also, because some static GK questions are already available in newspapers and editorials. And also I would say editorial help you to tackle those questions which ask which of the following is not the reason for XYZ. So it also helps. I think reading editorials as well as making your own notes helps, and revision is the key to cracking GK.
Okay. But did you also had a GK diary with you?
Yes, ma'am, I did, but the difference was I would not make notes for say Manthan or and all that, because I felt that was a bit tedious and would take a lot of time. So instead, what I would do is I would only note down daily GK. So for daily GK, I use GK today, and when we were nearing our CLAT exam date, I switched over to the daily GK provided on our aspiration account, because I felt we did not have much time to note down GK. And when it came to the timeline for studying GK, every week on Sunday I would take up Manthan, weekly Manthan or the monthly Manthan, and I would read it thoroughly. And at say at the end of the month or at the beginning of the next month, I would try and revise whatever I had studied the previous month. So this helped me not only for one-liners in ALET, but also in CLAT, because CLAT is fond of, from the past 2 years, we can observe that CLAT is fond of asking questions in depth. So what I would say is focus on both aspects so that you nail one-liners and as well as in-depth questions of CLAT, and also the main questions which they would ask you related to the main topics which would come in the question paper.
Devanshi, your take on how to go about GK?
One difference which I had between CLAT 2020 and 21 was that I did not make a GK diary in 2020. But when I took a drop, I decided that I'll write the daily GK, which is very important because it keeps you in touch with what's happening. And it also provides you with the important topics. For, as Kunal said, that he would go and search the important topics. So if you read news daily, then you are in touch with what all is happening in the world and what all is important. And apart from that, I read the Manthan because like as like CLAT consortium can ask you anything. For example, this year they asked us what day Galwan Valley clash happened. So it's better to be prepared for everything. So I did Manthan as well, and even the little boxes that you have under the main content, read them as well. And apart from that, once you're done with your Manthan, your newspaper, the Hindu newspaper, I would suggest you that one should, go and search important topics. They've all covered everything, but I think that one should cover everything because they can, like CLAT consortium can ask exactly. I mean, they can ask you anything. So I mean, I can't focus a lot on that because yeah.
So what do you mean to say right here, if I can summarize that, sometimes we get too focused with current affairs and somehow in the process we miss out the static GK,
Right.
which happened this year in the exam because,
Right.
you wouldn't there was questions on days, which is the kind of static GK, and, World Water Day, or I think the theme, or that's the wetland conservation, Ramsar Convention, those kind of things. So I think it's equally important. Yeah, Devanshi, yeah. Please.
And I would I noticed that everything was available on Manthan along with the theme and the day and everything. So that's why I'm focusing so much that one should read the Manthan very, very thoroughly and revise it again and again.
One more thing that I wanted to, you guys to enlighten the candidates. Most of the time, people tend to overlook maths or quants. So, would you say that would be a right way to look at all these exams, that not doing maths or quants? Absolutely not touching that particular area? Anyone can start.
Yes, just like ma'am said, I've been a victim of that initially, because what I would do is in my initial days, since I was focusing both on school as well as CLAT, so what would happen is I would practice maths only 2 to 3 days a week, and because of that, I suffered a lot, because I would not be up to date with the key concepts, and some questions in mocks I would not be able to solve them. So what I would recommend is take out, I think at least half an hour to 1 hour is sufficient, and practice some sums. Select a topic, or you can do it your way. There's no compulsion on that. Select a topic or select some questions and practice them every day. So what happens is that maths requires you to be in touch with it every day, almost like GK. So a key aspect of preparation in maths is to be in touch with it every day and practice it every day. So you must focus on the practicing part, and you must do it every day, no matter what happens.
Anyone else?
I think I can. So even though I really like doing maths, but it's very important that you know that if you don't like maths and if you leave it, then you are missing out an opportunity to go to a better college, or in fact even go to an NLU or not, because I would say 10 marks makes a lot of difference. It can be the difference between NLS and NALSAR, but it can also be the difference between getting an NLU and not getting an NLU. So it's important that one, and something which I've seen in the CLAT instructional videos as well, that there are 5 to 6 topics which can be asked. So there are percentages, averages, time and work, time, speed and distance, and I would say profit, loss and discount. So even if you prepare for these 5 topics, they're just going to ask you the implementations of these 5 topics in, I guess, a caselet form or a data interpretation form. So just solving like around 30 sums a day and covering these 5 topics would be good enough for you to get around 10 to 12 marks in maths. And I think that can make a lot of difference.
Okay, anyone else who has done, who has been into the habit of practicing maths? Yeah.
So initially when I started attempting mock, so I don't used to even attempt maths section. I don't even used to attempt a single question of maths. So like I used to see like I will waste my time on in maths, so I used to attempt other section and leave maths completely. But when I took drop and prepared for CLAT 2021, so I started preparing for maths from RS Agrawal in different topics, which I feared that I not able to do it. I started watching videos and solve different questions on that topic to overcome my fear. So like that I attempt. So after some mocks I started attempting questions in math section also, and that helped me improve my marks.
Thank you. So we have spoken about GK, we have spoken about maths. Now, there's one important habit which actually helps you in 3 important sections of CLAT, which is your legal, your critical reasoning, and as well as your reading comprehension. And I think that habit is reading. So how important it is to have a constant reading habit. And by reading, what would you suggest that someone should go for at this point of time? If somebody has to write 22, CLAT 22, should they be going for reading novels or fiction, or they should focus only on reading a good quality English newspaper daily like the Hindu or the Express? I would want to know your guys' take on this.
I think it's very important that one reads a lot and use this CLAT preparation to inculcate a habit of reading, because when you go to law school, trust me, they make you read a lot. And my college's orientation week just ended, and we already have a lot of reading material which is recommended. I think reading is very, very important. Even if you don't like to read, I would suggest read the newspaper. But apart from that, one can read anything. Like I read a lot of novels during my drop year, and they eventually helped me with the prep as well. So
anyone else who developed reading as a habit when they were in the process of preparing for CLAT, reading newspaper, or how important is reading newspaper? Let me frame this question as this.
Reading newspaper is the most important thing. Like from the very beginning, my reading skills were not that good, but I initially developed it called CLAD, and the three most important sections: English, reasoning, and legal. We need a reading practice, and we need a habitual fast reading also. And we, along with reading it fast, we need to comprehend it. So, reading newspaper is the best tool to develop this habit. Like we have to understand it, we have to read it very fast. So editorials, and I read the Hindu daily, so that was helpful.
Yes. In fact, I was wanting to ask next is like couple of time people say what to read in the newspaper. I think the first thing that should be is editorials is something. Then watch out for the international news and the front page news. Those are few things that you need to look into the or watch out for in the newspaper section. So newspaper reading, if you have not been doing, I think that is something you should take up immediately, and pick up a national daily which has kind of good rich vocabulary, and that is something you cannot afford not to have as a part of your clad prep journey. So also my next question comes here, that how the LST tools like Manthan, aspiration, or the mock analysis, uh, how the tools have helped you, the tools that have come part, or the entire LST as a organization has been instrumental in your journey?
Ma'am, it helped us a lot. Like you were available every time at center, so we can come and take guidance from you. And also the classes and last minute revision workshops, it all helped us a lot. And months too, and quizzes, legal quiz, GK Ninja, and all. It all helped us a lot. So I will say that it was a very, like, I'm so thankful that I joined CL.
So I think Manthan is something a lot of you have mentioned, and so how that as a tool, Manthan or aspiration, was instrumental, or all the mocks also.
I think Manthan is the best source to prepare for GK, because not only does it cover everything, it covers the static portion as well. And apart from that, there are a lot of tests available, sectional tests, and in the test gym. So I think one should solve all of them. They are helpful for CLAT as well and for other law entrance exams. And the mocks, I think CL has the closest mocks to CLAT, and the analysis is very it's very credible. So giving mocks is very important. And in fact, apart from giving mocks, there is a mock analysis video which is uploaded after a few days, so one can watch that as well. It helps you to look at the mock analysis in a different perspective, and I think that's very important.
Parth?
Yes, ma'am. I mostly reciprocate what the others said. Definitely, the LST tools have helped a lot. And I'd also like to add one more tool, which you had told me in the last months of our preparation. A drill down analysis is very useful for revising those questions which you've not attempted properly or you've erred in them. So you could use drill down analysis to work on your errors. And yes, of course, mocks are the closest to CLAT. On aspiration, we have a lot of topic tests. So if somebody wants to go and practice or they want to fine tune their skills and concepts, they can definitely go for that. So I would say, to sum up, that all the tools have been really helpful for us in our preparation.
So anyone else who has used drill down analysis towards the end for their revision? Because I think last 1 month we've spoken a lot about that, use drill down analysis to revise subject specific questions, to understand where are your weaknesses, where is the scope of improvement. And a lot of people tend to miss out on drill down analysis as a tool. Also drill down analysis can only be helpful when you have sufficient mocks in your kitty. If you have not written a lot of mocks, drill down analysis would not have much of the data to reflect upon, to tell which areas you're good at, for which areas you're bad at. Okay, so on a closing note, I would want to understand what would is that advice that you would give to the future CLAT aspirants or people, those who are planning to write 1 year, 2 year, or 3 year down the lane? What all things they can start right now, maybe in terms of reading, maybe in terms of GK, or what kind of attitude they should have towards this particular paper?
I think something which worked for me was to form a group of peers which are at a similar level of preparation as you are, and whom you can trust, and just start discussing GK or critical reasoning questions or even analysis of mocks. So I think that is something which helped me a lot. And apart from that, I would suggest that if you have any doubts, then you should definitely reach out to Priyanka ma'am. She's always there, and she'll help you in any way she can. And apart from that, don't hesitate from giving mocks. A mock won't decide which college you're getting, and it would just help you further with your preparation. So I think that's all.
Yeah, I'll take this question to everyone. I would want learning from everyone. I think everyone could have their own set of learning. So I would now come to Path. What is that one piece of advice that you would want to give?
Yes, ma'am. So when I was preparing, I'd say I did not have much problem with studies, because I would clear my doubts, and I would, if I would not understand where to study from or what to study, I would get those doubts cleared from my teachers and faculty members. But where I think I faced the problem was motivation, because what happens is when you are preparing for a long duration for such exams, I did it for 2 years. You sometimes you have the doubt कि मुझसे हो पाएगा कि नहीं, या फिर मैं निकाल पाऊंगा या नहीं. So what you have to do is, in the end, you first of all, to all the new aspirants, what I would say is, clear this in your mind that you have to crack this exam. I mean, I don't say, I would not say कि AIR 1 ही लाना है, not that type, but I have to crack this for myself so that I can do better in the future and I can study from a good law school. And whenever you feel you're not able to do that, think back upon how much you prepared, how much time you took for it, what sacrifices, because I think all of us somewhere have cut down on our entertainments or social meetings or whatever. So I feel if you focus on that and if you keep remembering what you're here for, it will help you a lot in this preparation. And definitely you should always strategize, always keep your concepts clear, always make sure that you are doing things in the time that you've decided you want it to be, and what is proper for the examination. And I think that this will go a long way and help you a lot in your preparations.
I would say giving marks is very helpful. Just give marks, analyze it, give sectional tests also. That's also very important. When you have a timer and you have one whole section to complete within a time duration, that will help. And reading newspapers are very important from the very beginning. I won't recommend reading novels because I was in class 12th also, so I had to manage. I don't have that time to read novels. But if you want to enhance your reading skills, I would recommend to read newspapers and giving marks and analyzing it. That's all. That was the key for me.
Okay, thank you. Namisha?
Ma'am, one thing worked for me, that I deactivated all my social media accounts. So I would suggest this. Like, when you see other people, your friends roaming around, having fun, so you are just distracting, and it distracted me a lot. So I just deactivated all my social media accounts, and it helped me a lot, trust me. So I would recommend this.
Okay. Kunal?
One thing I would say, that don't get dissatisfied with the marks or rank that you get, because initially I used to get very low marks in rank. Then after some time, my marks also improved, but then after, like, they was not constant. Like, in some mock I used to score good, and in some mocks I don't used to score that good marks. So I used to feel very demotivated. So I would say that don't feel demotivated after your mocks. Analyze completely, like wherever you are making mistakes, improve that sections. And also I would say for GK, study both static and understand the issue completely. CLAT is very unpredictable. So don't leave any stone unturned. You do whatever you can in your capacity.
Right. Chirag, coming to you.
Ma'am, I would broadly give three points for the aspirants. I would say consistency, honesty, and motivation. It is very important to be consistent with your preparation as well as being honest with your preparation. Give the mocks honestly, because it's basically now it's in online format, so everybody knows that you cannot trust the marks of others, but you can put faith in yourself and be honest with your online mocks. And for mocks, I would say analyze them, 3 to 4 hours, and also do not get demotivated, because I also used to get less score in the initial mocks. Then it started to grow, but then it suddenly went down. But getting motivated is the key, because a right mindset would definitely help to crack the paper. That's all.
Right. Prishita, coming to you. What has been your learning that you want to share with future aspirants?
Ma'am, I would recommend to give mocks regularly and the sectional test also. And for reading, I preferred newspaper only because I was also a PCM student, so I did not have much time. So newspaper is the best for reading, and you can, recall the topics through reading newspaper, related topics and all the things. And aspiration accounts is nice, very good study materials and ebooks. I recommend all those things.
Okay. So though this was going to be my towards the closing end, but one thing I picked up from your guys' learning is we talked about what we should do. Okay. What is that we shouldn't do? Or what are those habits that we need to get rid of? I think one thing that came up prominently is the social media. So, and I think everyone who's in class 11th or 12th, or probably anyone who's in the age range of 16 to 20, is on heavily on Insta or Snapchat or these kind of tools. So, should we like completely be out of it, or we have to learn how to not balance? I think that's where the right word is control, because it's quite addictive. Once you start scrolling, you finally see you've wasted kind of half an hour on that. So anyone who's can suggest on that. I think I knew for personally for Devanshi, she deactivated Insta. She recently rejoined. And anyone else who what we shouldn't do in this journey?
So I also deactivated Instagram and other social media accounts. Initially, I used to use them. So like I used to spend, like as you said, like we scroll and we end up
Right.
wasting a lot of time. So then I realized that I am not able to. I am not that kind of person who is able to balance a study. Like who will open just in social media for a time that I have set for 30 minutes or so. I'm not able to find a balance. So I deactivated all my social media, and I only started after all Instagram and other social media accounts after giving CLAT.
Yeah, ma'am, I did the
Okay.
same. I also deactivated my Insta account. And I would say throughout the journey, there were many things like I met many people who also demotivated me, like, you can't do it. Yeah, your English is not good. You can't crack that. And this is not, you should have given a JE, that's better option. They have better career options and that. But I would recommend to keep, like, we can't ignore people. I would say that, but we have to keep distance from some people or some things which demotivate you or distract you while your preparations. Or we have to control things like social media is also kind of a hurdle for me. It was. So I deactivated that, and we have to keep our mind. There were many distractions. There will be for the people who are preparing right now, but we have to keep our mind on our goal, and we have to focus that, and we can do it then.
Yeah, thank you. Very rightly said. And I think that's with your answer. There's another one thing that's coming up to my mind is you've discussed about being with the people who believe in you. Okay, so how what is the and there are a lot of parents today attending this session, or maybe siblings or elder brothers or sisters. So how this ecosystem around you, your parents, your family, your friends, how did you feel that they have been instrumental in your success, or what kind of environment they have provided you, or how they can be helpful. Probably the people who are listening to this conversation can learn how they can give an effective environment to a student who's preparing for any kind of competitive exam. I think the role of family that I want to understand here.
Ma'am, I think like my parents and my brother, they all were very supportive. I would analyze mocks with my brother. He would sometimes teach me, maths or discuss questions with me. So I think it's very important that one has the support of everyone in their family, especially if you are taking a drop, as it was for me. It's very important that everyone has faith in you and never questions you. And apart from that, I think I had the most supportive lot, and it's 99% because of them that I could, get a good rank and get into an NLU.
Okay. Anyone else who feel that family has played an important role in motivating you or keeping you constantly
Yeah, ma'am, my
on the
parents
right track?
too, they maintained the environment, like, and they ensured that I didn't get disturbed. And my brother too, like, whenever my friends call me, he told me that you shouldn't pick up the call, you should focus on study. My mother too, and everyone. So I will say that it really helped me a lot. Like, my parents played a crucial role in that.
My family supported me like 100%. There was 100% support from them, and I would like to thank my mother also. Whenever I get demotivated, I just talk to her, and she, motivated me. She's like, I shared with her everything. If I scored less in any mock, if I get distracted, I just talk to her, and everything was fine. After that, like, she motivated me very, very much. Like, I would like to thank my mother always.
Yeah. So I hope we have Jiju sir with us here for the closing note.
I have. Can I ask 2-3 questions? I think I'm sure that we can pick up question from this also. I have some time pass questions only. First question, I heard somebody giving gali to PCM. Ko kaun hai? Yeah, while studying PCM, I don't get time. Who said that? Somebody said no, because I'm in PCM 12th May. I find it difficult.
Yes, I was the one.
Rishika. Okay, so I think the problem. How many people go to tuitions for your 12th? Raise your hand. Tuition jate? How many hours of tuition do you go to 12th May? How many hours per week? Rishika, I'm asking you. You can unmute.
So 3 hours, 1.5 for one subject.
Every day 3 hours.
And 2 subjects per day. Like one day, one subject for 1.5 hour, and the other day, we alternate days I was going to tuition. So one day for 3 hours and one day for 1.5 hour.
Ye problem hai. Okay, the problem is here, because I'm telling you something that boards, a lot of this year at least 12th board, lot of kids have 12th board in now. 2 exam है ना अभी, नवंबर में कुछ एक है, फिर the next year तुम लोग at least boards तो नहीं था. But what I'm saying is this, okay, if I look at in your boards, you had about 5 subject hai na, total. All boards are about 5 subjects. I'm not talking about PCM, and each subject will have what, about 10-20 chapters. 20 chapters, maybe 5-15. These 15-20 chapter, about total 100 chapter. One chapter will take how many hours to study? कौन पढ़ाई करता है? पार्थ को पूछता हूँ, एक चैप्टर को कितना घंटा लेता है पार्थ पढ़ाई करने में?
Sir, it depends on the topic.
Average.
Sir, 1.5 से 2 घंटे.
3 लेता हूँ, 300 घंटा. Okay, एक साल में कितना दिन है? 300 दिन, 1 घंटा चाहिए. Okay, what are we making this 12 to be? You are a different breed, clad guys. You have to prepare both. My sense, the whole thing is that it can be easily managed, right? You just have to be sensible. You can do well in both. So my advice since all of you are going to college as well, it is important. वहाँ पे भी, I think कितने बार you will cut your Instagram? कितना? How long? I think it is a testimony of the fact that you guys have done really well. I think what is to me the sense that I would want to share with you, because nothing. Shika, don't feel bad. Okay, I'm not. This is not a criticism towards you. You guys have all done very well. I'm merely saying for all the people who are watching this, it is easy to manage. I am very happy to have met all of you. I hope that we will, or briefly, and especially Devanshi, we had a different one other discussion earlier as well.
So anyone has any query? I think we have covered most of the things, how to go about GK, how to, keep maths as in your prep journey, or how to it's good to have a good reading habit. So on that note, I would like to thank you, each one of you, for taking time out on a Sunday afternoon and interacting with us with your experiences, and sharing about your journey. And I think maybe I wish you all the best in the law schools that you're getting into, and maybe stay connected. That's what I prefer to do. I like to stay connected with all my previous students. So let's stay in touch through, and I think that's been easier with a lot of social media stuff that's happening. So I think all the very best. Anything on the parting note anyone want to share? So after then we'll close of this session.
I'll
I
just
think
say like
so.
thank
That's
you
all.
so much.
Thank you.
Sorry,
And
I'll just say like
Thank you.
thank you, Devanshi, Falak, Chirag, Manvi, Rishika, and we have Parth, Namisha, Kunal. Thank you so much. Enjoy your 5 years at the premium law school. Inspire many more people who will look up to you, and all the very best. Thank you. Thank you so much.
thank you,
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.